Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Feathery Treasury Show. My name is Aaron, and as always, I'm joined by Alex. How's it going today, Alex?
That's going well, thanks. Feels good to do this in person.
Yeah, this is our first in-person recording. We're hoping this will alleviate any of our technical difficulties we've been having. Zoom has not been friendly to us.
No, it's either Zoom or it's other microphones or the recording.
It's always something. So we decided we'd take advantage of the in-person recording today, and we went for a little bird walk beforehand. So let's go ahead and we'll summarize what we saw.
Not a lot.
No, that's about it. We didn't see a lot. We were hoping to see a decent amount. I've been going walks through this woods every once in a while, and I usually see a decent amount of woodpeckers and crows and all that. But today we saw 3 red-tailed hawks, which was always fun. They were doing their screech, which was fun to hear. We saw bunch cardinals.
Yeah, there's a lot of male cardinals, not so
Yeah.
many females.
No, saw 1 downy woodpecker and a bunch of black-capped chickadees.
Yeah, that was
pretty
about it.
lackluster walk, but we'll take it.
And there was the bald eagle.
Yeah. After we got done with our walk, we saw a bald eagle fly over, so I guess that counts. So 5 species, not too bad.
It's a start of spring. It's starting to get a little bit warmer. Wind is finally maybe leaving us.
Yeah,
One can
hopefully.
hope.
Fingers crossed. Although the groundhog said it was 6 more weeks, so we'll see. So we'll just move on. We'll go to our what have we seen lately in general. It's been a couple months since our last recording. And like we just said, we're pretty deep into the Minnesota winter. It's put a damper on bird watching, at least for me. I haven't seen a whole lot of variety. I've been trying to get out when I can, see what I can find. Having mixed results. Lots of crows, lots of black-capped chickadees around me. Usually hearing them. I don't see them as much as I hear them. Every time I step outside, I hear one or the other. Other than that, it's just a lot of woodpeckers, downy, hairy, couple red-bellied, couple pileated. The highlights, though, is I found this park on my way home from work where the Mississippi hasn't frozen over yet, and there were some trumpeter swans swimming around.
Oh, nice.
And there was a belted kingfisher the other day.
Oh, okay.
Flew by me, so it was nice to see that in the winter.
Yeah, it's one of my wife's favorites is the belted kingfisher.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see that. I was hoping maybe for some ducks, but I got a nice surprise with those swans and the kingfisher. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. We have some foliage still left in our garden, and there's some dark-eyed juncos and black-capped chickadees hopping around, and they're always fun to see. And there is a cardinal pair at work. But otherwise, same as you, it's crows, and I did see a few geese, but thankfully not too many. Most of them have already went down to better climbs, so
Yeah.
I prefer that than sightings, I guess.
Yeah, so hopefully next episode we'll have a little more to discuss as it starts warming up here, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. So I thought since this is our first episode of the year, it'd be a good chance for us to set some goals for ourselves. So we'll go over here our 2023 birding goals. Why don't you go first, Alex?
Yeah, sure. So I guess my main bit would be hitting 100 species, seen target. Last year I recorded 83, and that was with me using eBird inconsistently. For example, all those thousands of sandhill cranes I saw, hadn't recorded them at all. So next year my goal is to actually be diligent. So every time I go for a walk, I actually record what I see. And I think that's the main one. And in terms of new birds, I'm hoping to see some. I don't have a Cape Cod trip this year, which did contribute significantly to those species I saw last year. But in late summer, early fall, I plan to go back to Scotland and England, which should do wonders for my birding stats. Not the reason I'm going back, but it's just a good reason to be excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think we'll have to do like a special episode when you get back just to kind of recap everything you saw.
Oh yeah, I'll try and take as many pictures and record as much as I can while I'm in the Highlands and at the coast.
Sounds good.
What about yourself?
What do I want to do this year? So last year, I got 101 species, a little over 100. 100 kind of became my goal towards the end of the year. It wasn't really my goal throughout the year, but once I saw kind of how close I was getting, that's what I aimed for, and I did get it, so that was nice to do. But that included a trip down to Florida, which boosted my numbers by a decent amount. So I think this year I don't have any trips planned outside the Midwest right now, so I think to hit 100 again would be pretty good. So I think to get that, though, I'm going to have to be more proactive about getting out to the areas around us. Like I've said in other episodes, I need to step up my duck game, my waterfowl. We've got so much water around here. I need to really see more of those. I don't get out too much to see the ducks, and there's so many I could see. So there's numbers right there that's just waiting. Aside from that, I'm going to set a goal. I think I want to do like 40 new birds to me. I think that would be really cool. I don't know how realistic that is. We'll find out. Right now, officially, on eBird, I'm sitting at 161 species all time. So I think hitting 200 would be pretty cool. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you could get some birds, some waterfowl ones might help you, and maybe some birds of prey. I'm not sure how many of those you've seen.
Yeah. I just need to be more proactive, like you said. I feel like last year kind of got away from me. So being more diligent year round.
There's always some wood ducks or mergansers that still kind of linger around.
Yeah.
You haven't seen all of those. I think last year my favorite was probably the horned grebe as well.
Well, that's a good one.
One can open.
So our next segment, we're going to kind of go over a little game we've been playing lately. So I'm sure everybody's heard of the game Wordle so far. I don't know how you couldn't have heard of it. But turns out there's a game that came out that's kind of in the same genre, but it's about birds, and that's called Birdie. So every day they put a new picture up, and you just see a fragment of the picture, and you have 6 guesses to guess what North American bird it is. So we've been playing pretty consistently every day. How have you been liking it so far, Alex?
I like it. Should clarify there's also Birdle, which is exactly like Wordle, but you can only guess 5-letter bird names. So I'd avoid that once you get past eagle, goose, finch. There's not much to it.
Yeah, I like how it's a picture. I think that really it helps with the IDing. Helps train your brain for it.
Yeah, I think so far a lot of my guesses are based on colors or body parts, because if you get the correct, say you say winged, or if you say it's yellow and that is in the title, it tells you kind of eliminate a lot of them. But I'm getting better at applying logic based on the environment, or if there's certain features of the bird, like claws will rule out a lot, or the beak shape will rule out a lot of birds. So I'm not quite on the level of a true bird and idea such as yourself, but I'm getting there. And I know you've submitted a few too.
Yeah, they had a button on there asking for submissions. So I submitted a couple. We'll see. Maybe they've got a ton of submissions and we'll never see mine, but I think it'd be kind of neat if one of mine popped up.
You'll have to get it though.
Yeah, if I don't get it on the first guess, that's kind of embarrassing. But we'll see. So we'll move on. We'll do the bird of the episode. So this episode, the bird is the state bird of both Maine and Massachusetts. It was mentioned earlier in the episode. And if you don't know, that bird would be the black-capped chickadee. Personally, I'm a big fan of this bird. I've said it in other episodes. I think they're adorable. They're everywhere. You can't miss them. They're always so active and flitting around, and the call is fun. But a lot of people just kind of tend to overlook them in my mind, but maybe not. What are your thoughts on it, Alex?
Oh, I love black-capped chickadees. It's one of the first birds I learned to identify, both visually and by song, because they're North Americans, so they weren't in the UK, so the birds I didn't know till I came here. And I love watching them flit around the garden. They use the bird baths and they're like preening themselves, and yeah, they're great little guys. That's all I can say. What fun facts do you have?
Alright, so we've got a couple fun facts here. They're pretty simple birds, so there wasn't a ton, but first off, they've got a huge range. It extends kind of coast to coast across the northern part of the U.S. and southern parts of Canada, and then it kind of wraps up even into Alaska. So if you're in the northern part of North America, and you've probably seen one before. They look really similar to the Carolina chickadee, however. They don't overlap a ton, but they do overlap a little. And in that part, they can kind of be told apart by their singing, which I know I've mentioned their songs a little bit here, so I'm just going to play one into the mic, see if you recognize it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think if you spent any time outside, you've heard that before. And it kind of sounds chickadee-dee-dee-dee. I think that's kind of where they get the name.
Yeah, one of the rare names that sort of makes sense to the actual sound that it makes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Some of them, they say it's this because of the noise it makes. And it's like, I do not hear that noise.
Yeah. So that's all the fun facts I had.
Yeah, I found a
Do you
little
have a couple,
something.
Alex?
Yeah. I happened to see that they can reduce their body temperature on cold winter nights by as much as 12°C. So to conserve energy. So normally they're around 42 Celsius, and that goes about 30. And that capacity for torpor, as it's called, is not very common in birds. So kind of a rare trait to have. So that was kind of a cool little chickadee fact that I saw.
Well, thank you very much for that. So yeah, a little bit of a shorter episode today. Hopefully once the springtime kind of hits us, we'll have a little bit more to talk about. But we wanted to check in after the our little holiday sabbatical we took, a couple month break. But hopefully we'll be getting back onto this every month. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Alex, thanks as always for joining me.
My pleasure.
Feel free to provide us feedback. You can email us at featherytreasury@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the show or want to just give us a story about a bird you saw, we'd love to hear it. Otherwise, you can visit featherytreasury.com. I've been putting pictures on there. I've been putting how many birds I've seen on there. If you just kind of want to keep track of everything. But otherwise, have a good one, everybody.